Hello?
Hey, looking for Sean?
Yes,
Sean, this is Brandon. I'm a realtor. I see you're selling your house on your own. Am I right?
that's correct.
Listen, I was hoping to tell you why I called, and then you can decide if we need to talk. Fair enough?
I mean, you're like the 17th person to call me in the last hour. So if you're calling me to list my home, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. I bet you got every Tom, Dick, and Harry calling you trying to list your house. Am I right?
Yeah, like I said, you're like the 17th, 18th person last hour, and I'm not trying to list with a realtor right now, but if you have a buyer, I'll give you 3%.
Perfect, because I'm not interested in listing your house at all. And I know how annoying it could be with all these people calling you. Let me ask you, when you do get an offer, do you need time to stay in the house, or can you get out right away?
I mean, do you have somebody who's interested?
We've got lots of buyers. Let me ask you, how old are the windows on the property? I see it online. Tell me about that real quick.
Windows are 10 years old. Everything's pretty new.
And the roof?
Roof is, I think it's around 5 years old. But like I said, if you have a buyer that you come across, I'm more than happy to give you 3%, but not interested in, furthering a conversation if this is about listing.
Yeah. And to be clear with you, just so we're on the same page, I didn't want to call and upset you. I can sense that you're frustrated. The last thing that I wanted to do was call and piss you off. I'm literally trying to have a conversation. Are you open to at least talking if it made sense? And be honest. Because if you're not, I'm good either way.
That's hard to say no to. Yeah, sure, I'd be open to it.
Because, dude, listen, let's face it. The market is incredible. You're going to sell this house on your own. Don't worry about what all these other realtors are calling and telling you. I'm just interested to find out. I mean, you got a phenomenal house. Why in the world would you even sell it? Because that's the thing I don't understand, Sean. I see this beautiful home on Zillow. Why are you guys moving?
I mean, with the family all grown and everything, we don't really need the amount of space that we have. So we're just trying to downsize and, get a place that better suits our needs.
Got it. And how much are you asking for this house right now?
I'd like to get 600. I'm not sure if that's overpriced or not, but I'm going for 6.
I mean, it seems like a phenomenal price. Why just 600?
I mean, you probably know more of this than I do, but I mean, home sold down the street for 590. And so I'm not sure if I can get, that or more. So I thought, try it out for 600, see what happens.
All right, listen, I need to leave to go to another appointment, but before I let you go, I need to ask you one question. I want you to shoot me straight. Can you do that for me?
Sure.
If I brought you an offer at 600 or more, would that be a problem? And I want you to be honest with me.
No, of course not. I wasn't sure if I could get above 590. Like I said, I mean, if you have an offer for 600, yeah, I'll take it.
Here's what I recommend. We don't know each other from Adam. You've never met me. I have no idea what you're like. I've never seen your house. Why don't you invite me over, take a look at the home? When I'm there, I will show you a strategy and how I can bring you an offer. And then you could decide if I'm the type of person you want to do business with. Does that seem reasonable?
It does, but like I said, I'm not interested in listing it right now.
Beautiful. And I'm not interested either. Let's be really clear. I'm talking about one day in the future. If 30 days goes by and we're still talking, at some point, you got to look at another option. Am I right? Come on.
That's correct.
All right. I'm not talking about today. I just told you, I believe you could sell the house on your own. I'm talking about in the off chance, Sean, and both you and I know that day probably won't come. 30 days from now, at some point, you got to look at some other options if you don't get your offer. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, if I don't sell it on my own, obviously I have to work with a realtor, unfortunately.
And that is the only thing I'm interested in. So I promise when I see you this week, I will not even bring up listing the home. I'm just going to walk you through my backup plan for something for you to fall back on. Does that seem reasonable? Because you seem like a reasonable guy that you're not going to do anything unless it makes sense. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah.
And the second you sniff, you smell something weird, you can kick me out of your house immediately. Is that fair?
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll be together for 15 minutes. I can do Friday or Saturday morning. What works better for you?
Let's go with Saturday morning.
All right. So you probably never heard me do a role play like that, right? So this is what I mean when I'm talking about like how in which I deliver my message. And it's so less about like, what words do I choose to use? Do you see that now? Like, I hope everyone's like, holy shit, it's not the words. I was elevated. Like I was being, well, tell me how you felt in that role play.
So you understood the frustration. And the nature of it was what you said. It was very non-confrontational and very pattern interrupt like, but also the way you said it with the, like you said, the high elevated tone and everything. I was trying to think of how to be mean to you and how to like shut you down completely. I was having a hard time even thinking of that because of like the way it was going.
Let me tell you why. Okay. And this is when you hear people like Chris Voss talk about strategic empathy, the reason you felt like that, and this is what I wanted to get through to you and the whole group today, is because I was speaking from a place of like your lens and not my own, right? That's what you felt. I wasn't trying to convince you that like of anything. I was telling you what you were doing was smart. Stop listening to these people. I agree with you. I'm not talking about now, right? I'm talking about someday in the future, which both you and I know probably won't ever happen. But at some point, now I start talking in reasonable terms, right? And so you're a reasonable human. So I use these words that align with you in a belief system that you can't disagree with me. I say at some point in the future, come on, if you don't sell it or get the offer, you've got to at least look at some other options. I mean, that'd be the reasonable thing to do. For you to disagree with that would be completely off the rails. You're not going to show your weakness to a complete stranger and show me that you're going to go off the rails. You have to stay in reasonable land. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the whole takeaway from today, and that's why this was such a great call. I was so excited about this 20-second clip, because this is the problem with most of us is we're trying to be like this monotone, same script. It's all in the how, enthusiasm, tonality, delivery, pace, listening, asking hard questions, staying in the pocket, right? Not being afraid, showing courage, showing compassion, being somebody who that person wants to meet with. Right.
Yeah. I mean, when the call was done, the fact that he said that he's open to paying, 3% if somebody has a buyer told me that he's got, one of the two qualifications, since I wasn't able to, ask the main question since he cut me off. So I was wondering, how exactly do you go about getting that opportunity when it's there, but it's just the complete pattern interrupt and making sure that you're differentiating your tone the whole time and speaking
the whole time. Yeah. And it's okay to tell the people that like, when they're like, I'm not interested in listing the home, I'm being dead serious when I say I'm not interested in listing the home yet either. I haven't seen it. I don't know the condition. I don't know if the seller's like a crazy person. I'm not lying. I'm being honest. I don't know either. This is detaching from the outcome. So I might even say something like, Sean, instead of trying to like talk about this over the phone, we haven't even met yet. So when I say that, most people are like, yeah, he's right. And then I say, listen, obviously you're a smart guy. You're not going to do anything unless it makes sense. Am I right? You have to say yes to that. Otherwise you're telling me you're dumb. You are not going to do that. Right. So you're a smart guy. Obviously, Sean, you're not going to do anything unless it makes sense. Am I right? You say right. So why don't we do the right thing? Why don't we simply have me over? I'll walk you through what I can do to help you. And listen, if it's not right for you, I'm fine. You could kick me out. But if you find some value, maybe it's something you consider down the road. This is the key thing, right? Telling them, when I tell you guys detach, let me do it one more time. Sean, if it's not right for you, I'm fine. Kick me out. We never have to talk again. When you can do that to a prospects are like, holy shit. You know what I mean? It's such a great strategy to like annihilate any resistance. They're so used to people trying to convince. I'm telling you straight up, if you find zero value in our meeting, dude, kick me out of the house. Right. And then when I follow it up and say, does that seem fair? Does that seem reasonable? It's so easy for you to agree.
Right. Yeah. When you drop the line of, you can kick me out if it's not helpful for you, like that specific line, it like, if this is the right term, it made it like visceral for me, like everything like came, like I could feel it, like the depth and sincerity of the call, which took it to a whole nother level.
And that's the thing. So I guess the takeaway for everybody is like, we have really good members inside this group. Like we just have to accept and then practice the delivery, the how. And with my role play partner, it's like, dude, I don't need you to be nice to me. I need you to be realistic, because if you're nice, you're not helping me get better. And if you're being nice to your role play partner, it's all for, you're wasting your time, right? So that's why I like doing these role plays in front of 150 people or however many people are on this. It's like, dude, I like to get the nerves going, right? It's like, hit me hard. And so I have to work on that skill set to really listen, to see where you're at. And then sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But this is all the skills coming together of me staying in the pocket, ARPing, listening to your personality style. And so for you and everybody else, in your next role play session, I would work on, you see all the comments like expireds, everybody's mean, everybody's nasty. We have to meet the seller where they're at. And so that agreeable acknowledgement and matching and mirroring their tonality when we do that is probably the most important skill. So if you can sense the frustration, the second, Sean, you do not acknowledge that, you're done. The call's over.
Right. Okay.
So if you're an expired, as an example, and I'll leave you guys with this, and you're all pissed off, I'm going to say something about it. I'm going to say, Sean, listen, I sense the fact that you're super frustrated. You're probably getting just a ton of calls. Am I right?
That's correct. You're like the 100th person to call me in the last hour.
And it's so annoying. And I totally get it. And I don't want to be the guy that's annoying you, the annoying realtor. But I got to ask you, like, the house like yours doesn't not sell. What in the world happened? Right? So that'd be an example, because no other realtors are communicating this way. They're like, oh, I'm very sorry. I know. Boom. They just get even more pissed. You guys think you're being nice. You're pissing people off more.